The day they fired me, the CEO didn't say thank you. He didn't say good luck. He didn't even pretend it was hard. He just looked at his watch and said, "Clear your desk by noon." And in that moment, standing in a glass conference room that smelled like expensive cologne and quiet panic, I understood something very clearly. This wasn't about performance. It wasn't about restructuring. It wasn't even about money. It was about a signature I refused to give, a favor I wouldn't swallow, and a woman who thought my life's work would look better with her name on it. My name is Lauren Mitchell, and I knew I was being fired the second the calendar invite hit my inbox at 11:45 a.m. The subject line said, Q3 Strategic Alignment. Vague. Urgent. And sent by the two people you never want in the same room without a lawyer present. Ethan Caldwell, our CEO, and Marissa Lane, Head of Human Resources. Strategic alignment is corporate code for execution. I stood up from my desk as the open plan office of Redwood Meridian Technologies hummed around me, keyboards clicking, servers whispering, people drinking cold brew and debugging code that managed healthcare data for half the state. No one looked up. No one knew the woman who designed the spine of the system was walking to her own funeral. I smoothed my blazer. Armani. Bought 3 years earlier when we landed our biggest healthcare contract. I'd bought it because I wanted to look like armor. Today, it felt prophetic. As I walked past the server room, the lights blinked in the precise pattern I had programmed years ago. Green, green, amber, green. The heartbeat of the company. I wondered, briefly, if Ethan even knew where the server room was. He'd been here 18 months. I'd been here 16 years. He knew the stock price. I knew the wiring. The conference room blinds were drawn when I arrived. That was confirmation enough. Transparency was one of Redwood Meridian's core values, right up until they needed to quietly dispose of a body. Ethan sat at the head of the table, hands folded over a manila folder. Calm. Rehearsed. Ready. Marissa sat to his right, eyes glued to her laptop like the screen was the only thing keeping her from looking at me. Have a seat, Lauren, Ethan said, voice smooth, the kind that sounds trustworthy on an earnings call and hollow everywhere else. I sat, but I didn't lean back. I wanted to take up space. I wanted them to feel me in the room. As part of our effort to streamline operations and increase agility, he began, not wasting time, we've decided to eliminate the role of Director of Systems Architecture. Effective immediately. Eliminate the role. Passive voice. As if the position had wandered off on its own. Marissa slid the folder toward me. It stopped precisely 3 inches from my hands. Practiced. Inside is your separation agreement, she said. 6 months severance, extended benefits, standard NDA. I didn't open it. I stared at the label. Lauren Mitchell. 1 L missing. A typo. A small thing. But in my world, one wrong character brings down an entire system. That typo told me everything. This wasn't a painful decision. It was a copy-paste job. They couldn't even spell the name of the woman who built the pulse rail engine generating 70% of their revenue. They weren't just firing me. They were erasing me, carelessly. You spelled my name wrong, I said. Ethan blinked. Just for a second. We can reprint it, he replied, irritation creeping in. That's not the issue. No, I said calmly. It isn't. He went on about pivots and speed and how my department was too heavy, too academic. I almost laughed. I'd spent years fighting audits at 3 in the morning, patching vulnerabilities before hospitals noticed, making sure his shiny demos didn't turn into federal investigations. Who's holding the encryption keys? I asked. Ethan frowned. The keys for the compliance audit logs, I clarified. The ones rotated every 90 days. The ones that, if mishandled, lock the database and trigger mandatory federal reporting. Ethan glanced at Marissa. Marissa stared at her screen. The strategy team will handle technical assets, he said. The strategy team. People who used words like synergy and disruption but didn't know a server from a router. I opened the folder then. 6 months' pay. Generous enough to buy silence. Then I saw the addendum. Intellectual property. Dense legal language, simple meaning. Everything you ever thought while working here belongs to us forever. Including your mind. I closed the folder. I stood up. The chair scraped loudly enough to make Marissa flinch. I placed my security badge on the table. 16 years reduced to plastic. I'm not signing this, I said. Ethan's face hardened. If you walk out without signing, you get nothing. No severance. We'll contest unemployment. I looked at him. Really looked. I saw the fear behind the arrogance. He needed my compliance. I'm not making this hard, I said evenly. I'm making it accurate. I turned toward the door. You have until noon, he snapped. I checked my watch. 11:55, I don't need 5 minutes, I said. I don't keep personal items at my desk. I paused at the door. One suggestion, I added. Before your team touches PulseRail, check the patent filings. You might find not everything stands in the name you think it does. I walked out. Sunlight hit me in the parking lot. I didn't cry. I drove away knowing they thought they'd cut a loose thread. They had no idea they'd pulled the pin on a grenade. PulseRail wasn't just software. It was a living system. And I built it. What they didn't know yet was that the war hadn't started in that conference room. It had started 3 weeks earlier, on a rainy Tuesday afternoon, when Ethan's wife walked into my office with a smile, a leather folder, and a signature she thought I'd give without reading. And that was the moment everything changed. The war didn't begin the day they fired me. It began 3 weeks earlier, on a Tuesday afternoon that smelled like rain and expensive perfume. That was the day Cassandra Caldwell walked into my office without knocking. Cassandra wasn't just the CEO's wife. Lately, she'd been introducing herself as a strategic innovation advisor, a title that meant nothing and cost the company $20,000 a month. She didn't enter rooms. She performed in them. Perfect hair, tailored cream suit, a smile practiced in mirrors. Hi, sweetie, she said, leaning against my glass doorframe like she belonged there. I stiffened. I was 41 years old, a director with a 16-year tenure, and she still used that word like a leash. Hello, Cassandra, I replied, hand still on my keyboard. Ethan's in the boardroom. Oh, I'm not here for Ethan, she said, gliding in and placing a leather folder directly on top of my notes. I'm here for you. She sat, crossed her legs, and smiled. We need to talk about the future. She spoke about vision, about innovation, about securing intellectual property. Then she slid a document toward me. A patent assignment form. My stomach tightened as I scanned it. The title was my work. The abstract was my writing. And listed as primary inventor, above my name, was hers. There's a mistake, I said. No, she replied lightly. I provided the strategic direction. The spark. Did you write the algorithm? I asked. She waved me off. Don't be pedantic. Then the smile faded. Lauren, investors love seeing leadership tied to IP. And frankly, Ethan listens to me. If I say you're blocking innovation, I can't protect you from what's coming. It was a threat, clean and simple. Give me credit, or lose your job. I won't sign this, I said. Her eyes hardened. We'll figure something out, she replied, and walked out. That sentence stayed with me. I checked the logs that night. At 1:32 p.m., while I was in the cafeteria, an email had been sent from my account to legal. It approved her addition as inventor. The IP address didn't match my machine. It matched hers. Sloppy. Arrogant. I saved everything. Because once you see fraud, you don't panic. You document. The next discovery came quietly. In the IP portal. During the merger 2 years earlier, the patent assignments had never been countersigned by the acquiring entity. A missing signature. A broken chain of title. Legally, PulseRail didn't belong to Redwood Meridian anymore. It belonged to me. I called my attorney that night. They're trying to file with a false inventor, I said. And they don't own the patents. He laughed softly. Then they're standing on a landmine. I let them fire me anyway. I let them file the patent. 3 minutes after my termination, the USPTO alert hit my phone. Cassandra's name was on it. That filing was perjury. And I had the proof. What happened next wasn't sabotage. It was gravity. 5 days later, the SSL certificates expired. My admin account had been the authorization handshake. They killed it. The compliance portal went down. To fix it fast, they disabled encryption entirely. Patient data exposed. Then came the regulatory report. A junior strategist optimized my code and removed the risk engine. Pinnacle Health flagged it immediately and froze payment. $3 million vanished overnight. By week 2, the encryption vendor license expired. No one knew the invoice inbox existed. The system locked itself. Hospitals couldn't read records. Panic spread. Ethan blamed legacy systems. Everyone knew what that meant. Then the board's lawyers found the filing. Incorrect inventorship. Incomplete assignment. Potential criminal liability. I didn't need to say a word. When Vancore Compliance made their offer, it was $38 million for the patents alone. I had David send it to the board. Ethan tried a smear campaign. It lasted 20 minutes. Pinnacle demanded a warranty of non-infringement. Ethan couldn't sign it without committing fraud. The board stopped returning his calls. The final meeting happened at the Four Seasons. Neutral ground. Heavy silence. The chairman didn't ask if I wanted to negotiate. He asked what it would take to survive. I gave him 2 options. Match the offer, correct the record, wire the money. Or watch the company die. Ethan protested. I slid the evidence across the table. The forged signature. Cassandra's device ID. Federal exposure. The room went still. 10 minutes later, Ethan was removed as CEO. Cassandra was banned from company property. The board signed. $38 million hit my account before the ice melted in my glass. They offered me the CTO role. Board seat. Double salary. I declined. I licensed them the system. On my terms. $5,000 an hour. 4-hour minimum. When I left that hotel, I didn't feel victorious. I felt finished. They thought I was replaceable. They forgot something fundamental. You can fire the architect. But if you don't own the foundation, the building was never yours. Thank you for listening. If this story resonated with you, tell us where you're watching from in the comments. Like this video if you believe integrity always outlasts arrogance. And subscribe to the channel for more true-style boss revenge stories, because sometimes the quiet ones don't fight loud. They fight smart.